Now, we don't get to go to too many car launches where you drive through a muddy creek, climb a rocky mountain, blast through some of the best backcountry roads in Australia, and then go for a belt around a racetrack, all in the same car. This, however, can do all of that. It's the new Range Rover Sport. Now, this isn't your average sports car, nor is it your average bush basher or a conventional luxury car. But the Range Rover Sport is surprisingly capable at being all three of them when you want it to be. So we've come down here to Tasmania, arguably the home of Australia's toughest environments in terms of roads. Targa Tasmania, great little track at Baskerville, and some serious off-roading to test that theory out. Now, Range Rover says what it wanted to achieve with this car was to actually make it more Range Rover and more sport, which is a big, bold claim. And what it's done to do that is use the same aluminium architecture that it introduced with that Big Daddy Range Rover just last year. And that means that it's 420 kilograms lighter than its predecessor, which by that very nature means it's more agile and quicker in a straight line, therefore more sportier. It's also introduced a whole heap of electronic technologies to this car to give it even more agility. With that, it's got some active roll bars that ensures that it sits absolutely flat through even the fastest of corners. It's also got electronic diffs with torque vectoring control, which means it can apportion the right amount of power to the right wheels. And in fact, when it gets all squirrely, it can actually do more power to the inside wheels to help it turn in even sharper. Now, on a backcountry road, even with some tight and twisty turns, this thing is surprisingly rapid, particularly this flagship, the V8 Supercharged Autobiography. The flagship of the Range Rover Sport family is powered by the company's venerable supercharged 5-litre V8, which produces 375 kilowatts of power and 625 newton meters of torque, and is capable of accelerating from 0 to 100 kilometres in just 5.3 seconds. But if that seems a bit over the top, then there are three other engine options to choose from. A 3-litre turbo diesel V6 in two different states of tune, a 4.4-litre turbo diesel V8 with a stump pulling 700 newton meters of torque, and the sweet supercharged 3-litre V6 that debuted in the Jaguar F-Type earlier this year. The steering on it is so crisp. For a big SUV, it turns in with real edge of precision. It obviously can't control its mass once it starts to lose grip, and it's got a natural tendency to understeer, but it's still really, really quick and surprisingly good fun to drive. You know, part of that handling is that it's got an all-aluminium suspension, so really lightweight components, but it's also got air dampers, so it actually constantly varies the damping rate to keep it all in control. And big bumps, no problems. This car soaks it up really, really well. It's got this sporty presence to it. It doesn't feel like it's floating like the big Range Rover, but it's got really excellent body control and really good levels of comfort too. Well, this one, it looks pretty bold and it's black and red leather trim, but it's super luxurious. Comfy seats, awesome sound system, 1700 watts and 23 speakers. It's an option, but it is seriously loud. It also comes with sat-nav, 3-zone climate control, and a first for Range Rover, this actually has 2 extra back seats for a 5+2 configuration, so a seriously flexible family car as well. As far as its off-road capabilities are concerned, the Rangey Sport is available with a single-speed transfer case or a dual-speed system with low-range gears for serious bush bashers. Even with a single-speed transmission, the Rangey Sport is extremely capable at traversing some pretty rugged conditions, as we found out. Using its multi-mode all-terrain system, it easily clawed its way up and down a rocky hill, through a slippery muddy creek crossing, and dangled its wheels high in the air over a series of dips and humps. Minutes later, we took it for a belt around the challenging Baskerville Raceway. And, while it's clearly not designed to be a track day warrior, and it can't hide the fact that it is a 2-ton SUV when pushed hard, it uses that same electronic trickery to make it a hell of a lot of fun to drive. Now, this is a pretty amazing car, the Range Rover Sport. It's almost like a Swiss Army knife on 4 wheels. It does so many different things and it does them all pretty well. It's a great family car, it's a great luxury car, It's also a pretty decent sports car and a serious four-wheel drive. It's even lighter, more efficient and faster than it's ever been, and it might just reset the benchmark for sports activity vehicles.